Think of a time you moved through your day and something so precise, so strangely timed, crossed your path that it made you freeze. Maybe it was a phrase you needed to hear drifting from a passerby. Maybe it was a melody that started playing just as your mind was spiraling, or a set of numbers glowing on a clock, one that somehow felt like it had been waiting specifically for you. The rational mind tries to dismiss it, clinging to its familiar version of reality. But your intuition murmurs, "This means something." That whisper grows stronger each time, and soon you're face to face with an impossible riddle. Are you discovering the pattern, or is the pattern discovering you? Here lies the paradox that unsettles reason itself. If existence is truly random, why does it seem like synchronicities intensify when you're approaching a personal awakening? Why do these signs multiply in the moments when you begin to shift direction, alter belief, or step into a renewed version of yourself? If you reduce existence to mere accident, all that remains is absurdity. But if you dare to entertain the thought that reality is aware, intelligent, and responsive, then synchronicities evolve from strange coincidences into messages of resonance. This marks the first crack in the old worldview, the first doorway into seeing beyond the surface. There's quiet risk in ignoring these moments. Rejecting signs as chance might keep you at ease, but it also seals you off from a deeper dialogue with existence. Your unconscious mind is endlessly scanning your surroundings, processing countless bits of information beyond your notice. It filters, emphasizes, and chooses. Why do certain moments rise to awareness as if highlighted in neon? Because they vibrate with your internal state. The field of awareness doesn't hand out random fragments. It mirrors the energy you project. Yet, here's the unfinished riddle that keeps the intellect restless. If synchronicities reflect us, why do they often carry insights beyond what we consciously understand? The answer runs deeper than it appears, and we'll reach it. To shatter the habit of passivity, you must face this strange possibility. Maybe you are not walking through an empty world, but within a living web of meaning. Each time you convince yourself it's only coincidence, you silence a message meant for you. The real disruption happens when you choose to invert the narrative. What if randomness is the illusion itself? What if order has been right before your eyes and you've simply been taught not to notice? That single realization fractures the mental routine. It shakes your old conditioning just enough for wonder to step in. And wonder is the opening through which transformation enters. Synchronicities, from this perspective, aren't interruptions in life. They are life itself breaking through your blindness. They are not rare occurrences but constant signals, waiting for your awareness to sharpen. The question isn't whether signs exist. The question is whether you are ready to see them. And the instant you begin to look, everything shifts. You start to see how the same book comes up in conversations with unrelated people. How the same image repeats in dreams and waking moments. How the same lesson echoes through different voices until it demands your attention. Reality keeps echoing its message until you finally respond. Here's the mistake most people make. They assume that because something defies explanation, it must lack significance. But explanation is not the same as understanding. Science once dismissed electricity as invisible superstition. The unseen often arrives before the undeniable. Similarly, synchronicities aren't yet defined by formulas, but they are traced through lived experience. And the fact that you're here hearing these words right now might itself be part of that invisible design. A soft disruption, a reminder that you're not wandering through chaos, but immersed in messages. The more you resist them, the more relentless the signals become. The more you surrender to them, the more graceful and meaningful the timing feels. It's as if the universe performs a private melody with you as both the instrument and the listener. Each sound, each repetition draws you deeper into harmony with the road you're meant to follow. But don't confuse this with destiny carved in stone. The mystery stays unfinished by design. You're given just enough to keep going, never the full picture at once. That missing fragment keeps you searching. That open space is where free will and destiny meet. And so the paradox grows sharper. You are both the writer and the reader of your own story, both the transmitter and the receiver of these signals. Randomness dissolves into coherence once you accept that you are connected to a greater field of intelligence. You don't yet hold all the answers. You don't yet see what the signs are guiding you toward. And that's exactly why you keep watching, keep listening, keep noticing, because the patterns are intentional. And deep inside, you've always sensed that the signs were there, waiting, guiding, aligning. If the first realization comes when you notice that synchronicities feel too exact to be coincidence, the second revelation arrives when you see that science itself has been brushing against this mystery for generations. At the subatomic level, particles do not move like solid marbles. They exist as clouds of probability, waves of potential that solidify only when observed. This isn't speculation, it's quantum physics. And the moment awareness enters the equation, invisible probabilities collapse into visible form. Could it be that the same law shaping electrons is also weaving meaning into your daily life? That what appears as chance is really possibility crystallizing into perfectly timed events. Your mind is not just a receiver, it's an active shaper of experience. Neuroscience shows that from the billions of bits of data available at every moment, the brain filters almost all away. It keeps only what aligns with your current worldview. This process is known as selective attention, and it explains why, after buying a car, you suddenly notice that same model everywhere. But here's the deeper layer. Selective attention isn't only scanning for objects, it's scanning for significance. The symbols you recognize aren't random because they echo your inner vibration. The brain literally trains itself to perceive what matches your energetic state. And yet, even this scientific view leaves something missing. If it were just a trick of focus, then synchronicities would feel flat, lifeless, like spotting clouds that look like faces. But what you sense in your body when a real synchronicity occurs is distinct. It's electric, magnetic, alive. It carries an emotional pulse that sends chills through your skin and accelerates your heartbeat. Psychologists call this numinosity, the feeling of sacred presence. The body never lies. It knows when something is beyond coincidence. That inner spark is proof of alignment between you and the greater field. You're not merely observing, you are woven into it. Quantum theory offers another clue. When two particles become entangled, they remain connected across distance and time. Alter one, and the other reacts instantly, faster than light itself. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, because it defied every rule of logic he knew. But maybe synchronicities are the larger scale reflection of that very same law. You make an internal adjustment, shift a belief, expand an intention, and suddenly the outer world reconfigures itself in harmony. The symbol that appears isn't accidental. It's proof of connection between your internal vibration and the field of existence itself. Yet a question still lingers. How does your private intention ripple outward into the structure of the physical world? This is where spirituality had words long before science dared to explore. Neville Goddard described imagination as the generative force of creation, declaring that your internal condition shapes external reality. Joe Dispenza speaks of coherence between mind and heart, measurable through electromagnetic frequencies, showing how elevated emotion combined with focused intent can create measurable effects in the quantum realm. And Amit Goswami has written of consciousness as the foundation of existence, proposing that matter emerges from awareness rather than the reverse. These aren't poetic analogies. They are bridges linking what can be quantified with what can be deeply felt. But still, the riddle remains unsolved. If synchronicities are nothing more than the brain identifying repeating patterns, why do they so often precede real-world changes you couldn't have foreseen? Why does a repeating number or symbol appear before an event unfolds, as if reality is hinting at what's to come? Conventional science doesn't yet have terminology for pre-causal order, though physics edges ever closer. Studies in retrocausality hint that choices made in the present might influence outcomes in the past. In other words, time may not be as straight a line as we once believed. Synchronicities might be the visible smoke rising from the unseen fire of nonlinear time, signs that your consciousness is brushing against moments before they fully manifest. This is where curiosity loops become inescapable. Because if time isn't linear, then what does it truly mean to align with a timeline? Does your awareness stretch forward, drawing experiences toward you, or do those experiences already coexist in parallel, waiting for your vibration to lock onto them like tuning a frequency? In the end, both perspectives dissolve into the same realization. You are not a casualty of coincidence. You are an active participant in a layered web of possibilities. Each alignment is a strand drawing you closer into harmony with the version of reality you're currently expressing. Here's a simple yet powerful mental reset. Think about how your GPS operates. You choose a destination, and though the route twists and detours, you continue to receive prompts. Turn here. Slow there. Recalculate when you drift from the path. Synchronicities aren't the destination, they're the recalibrations. The subtle confirmations that you're locking onto a certain frequency. Ignore them and you'll still move forward, but with friction and delay. Follow them, and the path unfolds with fluidity, grace, and uncanny precision. Yet science alone cannot fully satisfy. It explains mechanisms but not meaning. Meaning arises only when you blend the scientific with the spiritual, when the analytical mind meets the intuitive heart. When you begin to understand that every synchronicity is both a neurological pattern and a metaphysical signal, everything shifts. It's your brain syncing with your energy, and the universe synchronizing with your intention, simultaneously. This is the paradox. It exists in both realms, internal and external, psychological and cosmic. The truth resides within the tension that connects them. So when you dismiss synchronicities as coincidence, you're not merely overlooking patterns, you're cutting yourself off from half of existence. The unseen threads persist whether you admit them or not. But once you do, life changes from randomness to rhythm. The hidden becomes clear. The static becomes guidance. And suddenly, what once seemed accidental starts to reveal itself as alignment. Still, one essential question remains unanswered. If synchronicities are a kind of language, how do you learn to interpret them? And why do they cluster more powerfully at moments of deep transformation? Those are the mysteries waiting in the next chapter of this exploration. Every culture throughout history has known that the universe communicates through symbols, yet only a few have truly learned how to listen. For some, these signs arrive as repeating numbers, like echoes resonating through the rhythm of their days. For some, it's the unexpected reappearance of an old friend at the exact moment they needed a reminder of where they came from. For others, it's dreams merging effortlessly with waking life, symbols drifting between dimensions as if to prove that nothing is ever truly separate. What ties all of these moments together is the feeling that existence itself is trying to start a dialogue with you. And yet, most people wander through it like travelers lost in a foreign land, surrounded by a language they were never taught to understand. Picture seeing 11:11 on a clock, not once but over and over, always at the instant you're thinking of a question you haven't yet voiced. Logic dismisses it as coincidence or probability. But deep down, your body doesn't respond to statistics. It responds to vibration. You feel the pull because your internal state is syncing with an external signal. The numbers act as shorthand for harmony, a cosmic exclamation mark reminding you that your thoughts and the universe are moving in rhythm. This isn't randomness. It's communication. And like every language, the more you engage, the more fluent you become. Carl Jung, the psychologist who gave us the word synchronicity, understood this well. He said that symbols are the psyche's bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. A symbol doesn't define, it implies. It holds layers of meaning without collapsing into a single conclusion. That's why synchronicities so often arrive as symbols instead of clear instructions. They're not designed to draw a straight line, they're meant to lead you deeper into the spiral of awareness. The number, the image, the encounter, each is the psyche's way of whispering that you are in dialogue with something larger. The outer world is replying to an inner question you barely knew existed. And here's where the curiosity gap opens wide. If synchronicities are indeed a language, who, or what, is doing the talking? Is it your higher self guiding you from above? The collective unconscious, a vast field of shared archetypes? Or is it the universe itself, conscious and intentional, weaving signals into the fabric of your everyday life? The truth may be all of these at once, layered and inseparable. That ambiguity isn't a flaw, it's what keeps the mystery alive. A message too obvious becomes noise. A message with mystery keeps your attention alive. The human mind craves completion, and synchronicities play with that hunger, offering just enough to draw you onward, never enough to let you rest. Think about it, when you start noticing patterns, you don't feel done, you feel ignited. You want to decode, to chart, to uncover the hidden grammar behind the signs. That hunger is part of the dialogue itself. The universe doesn't hand you a finished map. It offers fragments, scattered hints, the outlines of an unfinished riddle. Noticing them is only the beginning. Interpreting them is the next step. Living what they reveal, that is the true initiation. The language of synchronicity isn't academic. It's alchemical. It transforms you as you learn to listen. It is crafted not to inform you, but to transform you. A story conveys this truth more vividly than theory ever could. A woman starts noticing butterflies everywhere. At first, it feels meaningless, just nature doing what it always does. But soon, the butterflies appear in novels, in lyrics, in gifts from friends. The pattern grows until she can no longer dismiss it. Later, she realizes the sightings began when she was contemplating a profound change, leaving a job that drained her soul. The butterflies weren't predicting her decision, they were affirming it, surrounding her with the vibration of transformation before she took action. That's the magic of symbolic communication. It doesn't command, it mirrors. It doesn't instruct, it invites. And the moment she resonated with it, change became inevitable. But tread carefully, this language doesn't obey the logic of straight lines. It's poetic, multidimensional, metaphorical. If you expect signs to deliver answers like equations, you'll be frustrated. The symbols aren't about what should I do, but rather who am I becoming? They don't dictate your choices, they illuminate your alignment. That's why two people can witness the same phenomenon. One shrugs it off while the other is profoundly moved. The difference isn't in the event, but in the frequency it strikes within them. Language is alive only for those attuned enough to hear it. The brain itself appears built for this kind of communication. Neuroscience shows that pattern recognition is one of its oldest instincts. Our ancestors survived by perceiving shapes in shadows, movement in forests, constellations in the sky. But in modern times, that ancient skill has been hijacked by artificial signals. Advertisements, alerts, notifications. Synchronicities pierce through that noise. They disrupt the mundane patterns with something purer, something that feels like the brain remembering its original purpose, to notice alignment with life itself. This isn't superstition, it's evolution reawakening to consciousness. Now comes the unfinished revelation. If synchronicities are indeed a language, they must have grammar, rules, a structure. But what are they? Here the curiosity loop tightens. Because the rules aren't outside you, they exist within. Your memories, archetypes, emotions, and experiences determine how the universe communicates. The syntax is personalized. No manual can define your symbols, only you can. Learning this language isn't about memorization, it's about intimacy. Intimacy with your emotions, your rhythm, your inner state, and the timeline of your becoming. Yet when enough people experience the same motifs, we start to see a shared lexicon forming. Numbers, animals, recurring dreams, familiar faces. These are the alphabet of the field. But how they combine and punctuate your unique journey, that is yours alone. This means synchronicities aren't proof of a pre-written fate. They are evidence that you are co-creating your path moment by moment. A living language reminding you that you are not drifting through chaos. You are in active dialogue with reality itself. The real question isn't whether synchronicities are real. You already know they are. The question is, why do they surge when you begin shifting timelines? Why do signs gather at thresholds, clustering like markers at the edge of change? That mystery unfolds in the next stage of the path. And when it does, the entire landscape of your life may begin to look entirely new. You've likely noticed something uncanny. The moments when life feels most unstable, most uncertain, are often the same times when synchronicities start pouring in. When you change careers, end a relationship, move to a new environment, or even alter an inner belief, the signs multiply. Numbers echo. Conversations mirror your thoughts. Dreams blend with waking life. The universe hums louder, aligning itself to your next becoming. It's as though the universe turns up its volume, surrounding you with echoes too vivid to ignore. Why? Because when you shift timelines, when your vibration begins to release one version of reality and attune to another, the field responds with harmony. The patterns that once reflected your old self dissolve, and new ones begin to illuminate the path ahead like lanterns flickering along an unseen trail. Imagine reality as a vast spectrum of frequencies, each timeline vibrating to its own distinct rhythm. You are never confined to one. You are fluid, moving with your state of being. When you inhabit a specific identity, a set of beliefs, you resonate with one slice of the world. But the instant your frequency expands or contracts, the resonance changes, and the external world reorganizes itself to mirror that shift. Synchronicities are the footprints of that reorganization. They are not random ornaments scattered through life, but signals, markers showing that the field is aligning with your evolving trajectory. They multiply because you are crossing invisible thresholds, stepping into a vibration that hasn't yet stabilized. And so the field floods you with confirmation, gently guiding you forward. Science, interestingly, gives us a metaphor for this. In quantum mechanics, when a system transitions from one state to another, it doesn't do so quietly. It releases bursts of energy, trembles, fluctuates, appearing chaotic before settling into coherence. Think of water as it nears boiling. At first, the molecules accelerate, colliding chaotically, sending bubbles upward in unpredictable bursts. Then, suddenly, a threshold is crossed and boiling becomes continuous, steady, inevitable. Consciousness behaves in much the same way before stabilizing into a new reality. The signs rise chaotically, announcing that transformation is imminent. The surge of synchronicities isn't disorder. It's the turbulence of timelines converging and then harmonizing into a new equilibrium. Spiritually, this has been known for ages. Mystics, shamans, seers, all describe thresholds as marked by omens. The ancients never dismissed signs as coincidence. They believed the opposite. That when life intensifies, when structures dissolve, the universe amplifies its voice. What modern thought labels coincidence, ancient wisdom called communication, alignment. They understood that when you walk between worlds, you need guides. Synchronicities are those guides. They are the compass that doesn't point north but inward, toward the timeline your soul is resonating with. And here lies the curiosity gap. If synchronicities multiply during a shift, how do you know which ones to trust? How do you tell signal from noise, guidance from projection? The answer lives in the body. True signs carry resonance, a physical vibration that feels charged, almost magnetic. They arrive with timing so precise it pierces your hesitation. You don't merely see them, you feel them. That is how you know. The body itself becomes the tuning fork that confirms alignment. And this reveals the deeper truth. Synchronicities do not appear to entertain you, they appear to evolve you. They are not spectacles of wonder. They are milestones of becoming. Every sign is a mirror asking softly, will you keep walking this new road? Are you ready to become the version of yourself that this reality is calling forth? Ignore them and the way ahead turns hazy, filled with static and hesitation. Follow them and it becomes radiant, unmistakable, alive. They multiply at the thresholds because the stakes rise there. Your decisions echo louder. Your vibration recalibrates faster. The signs aren't ornaments. They are the navigation system of consciousness itself. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One road feels safe, mapped, patterned with what you already know. The other shimmers with uncertainty, wild, unstable, yet pulsing with potential. Which one do you choose? Synchronicities ignite like torches along the unknown trail, whispering, this way. Keep moving. You're not lost. And each time you trust their guidance, more torches appear, lighting your way toward coherence. They multiply because you need them most when stepping into the unknown. But here lies the paradox. The signs will not walk the path for you. They won't make your choice. They will only mirror your readiness. You still must move. You still must leap. The signs are not replacements for courage. They are proof of resonance. They don't erase the leap of faith. They reveal that your leap is landing on something real, another timeline already waiting to receive you. That's what makes them intoxicating. They remind you that your inner world and the cosmos are reflections of each other, engaged in a shared dialogue of becoming. Pause for a heartbeat and ask yourself, what patterns have been circling you lately? What numbers, phrases, or symbols keep crossing your path? They aren't coincidences. They are confirmations. They whisper that you're already in motion, already transforming, already syncing with a new version of reality. You might not yet see the full mosaic, but the clues are everywhere. The more you acknowledge them, the brighter they get. The more you dismiss them, the quieter your intuition becomes. And this is where your power ignites. You're not here to collect signs as souvenirs, you're here to embody them. To walk as if the alignment is already real. To live as the version of you that your next timeline requires. So pause and anchor this truth within you. Write it, feel it, declare it in the field of consciousness itself. I walk in alignment with my timeline. Let it not be just a comment, but a signal, a pulse sent back into the universe. Because the moment you declare alignment, reality begins to rearrange around it. The multiplication of signs isn't random. It's essential. It's the turbulence of merging timelines, the symphony of the field, the guidance system of an intelligent universe. The real question is, what will you do with these fragments, these luminous breadcrumbs of destiny, when they never hand you the whole picture, only scattered pieces of an unfinished map? Every sign is a reflection whispering, will you keep walking this unfamiliar path? Are you ready to embody the version of yourself that this new reality calls for? Ignore them and the journey becomes slower, foggier, tangled with interference. Follow them and the path turns luminous, effortless, unmistakable. They appear more frequently at the thresholds because the energy is heightened. Your choices vibrate stronger. Your frequency adjusts quicker. The signs aren't ornaments. They are the built-in navigation of consciousness itself. Picture yourself standing at a fork in the road. The old route feels safe, predictable, filled with familiar footprints. The new one feels uncertain, shifting, but alive with possibility. Which direction do you choose? Synchronicities flicker like lanterns along that mysterious road, murmuring, this way, keep going, you are not lost. And each time you listen, more lanterns light up, guiding you further into harmony. They multiply because you need them most when stepping into uncertainty. But here's the paradox you must hold. The signs won't walk for you. They won't decide on your behalf. They only mirror your readiness. You still have to move. You still have to leap. The signs are confirmation of resonance, not a substitute for bravery. They don't erase the leap of faith. They prove that you're not jumping into emptiness but into a frequency already waiting to meet you. That's why they feel magnetic. They remind you that your inner universe and the outer cosmos are mirrors reflecting one another endlessly. Pause for a moment and ask yourself what signals have been showing up lately. What numbers, what phrases, what recurring symbols have been weaving through your days. These are not decorations. They are validations. They tell you that you're already shifting, already transforming, already aligning with a new level of reality. You might not see the whole picture yet, but the clues are everywhere. The more you honor them, the brighter they become. The more you ignore them, the dimmer your intuition grows. And here lies your true strength. You are not meant to gather signs like collectibles. You are meant to embody them, to live as though your alignment is already real, to move as though your new timeline is already here. That's why I want you to anchor this realization right now in the comments below. Not as a casual note, but as a declaration of coherence. I walk in alignment with my timeline. Write it, feel it, and let that act become your signal back to the field. Because when you proclaim alignment, the universe responds in kind. So the rising number of signs isn't accidental. It's intentional. It's the merging of realities, the music of the field, the inner GPS of an intelligent cosmos. The only question that remains is, what will you do with these fragments, these radiant pieces of destiny, when they never hand you the complete map, only scattered clues of a puzzle still unfolding? That is the mystery we are about to enter, and it may transform the way you perceive your journey forever. Every synchronicity feels like a fragment of a greater design, but never the full image. This is no accident. The signs appear incomplete because their power lies in motion, not in conclusion. They are crafted to keep you seeking, refining, attuning. Imagine if every signal handed you the entire blueprint of your life. The wonder would fade, the tension would vanish, and with it, your growth would stagnate. The universe does not function like a manual. It works like a mosaic, offering glimpses, fragments, just enough to intrigue you, just enough to pull you onward, but never enough to let you rest. That is intentional. Think about how a jigsaw puzzle unfolds. At first, the pieces seem random, scattered, almost meaningless. You have no idea where each belongs, but slowly patterns surface. Corners align, edges connect, and the broader form begins to appear. You still can't see the whole picture, but your intuition sharpens with every match. Synchronicities operate in exactly this way. Each moment is a shard of a higher geometry. In the beginning, it feels fragmented, but as you gather them, an unseen harmony takes shape. Their incompleteness isn't an error, it's the very system that draws you toward the version of yourself able to perceive the whole. Here's the paradox. Though the puzzle is never finished, every single piece feels perfect in its moment. A recurring number doesn't reveal your entire destiny, yet it feels precise, meaningful, undeniable. That fleeting wholeness is what builds your faith in the process. And just when you think you've cracked the message, another piece appears, expanding or even reshaping your understanding. This rhythm never ends, but it's not punishment. It's the cadence of evolution, the structure of transformation. You're meant to exist within the unfolding, not skip to the last chapter. Science mirrors this in chaos theory. Complex systems seem random but actually follow hidden laws. You can't predict specific results, but you can trace the shape of order hiding inside the apparent noise. Whether patterns, neural networks, even ecosystems, each obeys this principle. Synchronicities may be the intimate, personal reflection of this universal logic. Life feels unpredictable yet reveals a subtle fractal order that unfolds only piece by piece. Each sign is a snapshot of that larger pattern, but never the entire frame. That's why they're so captivating. The mind hungers for completion, but the universe withholds just enough to keep you leaning into the mystery. Spiritually, this theme echoes through every tradition. The mystic said you are given your daily bread, not the loaf for the year, not the supply for a lifetime, just enough for this moment. Similarly, synchronicities feed the soul's journey, offering clues and confirmations for the step you're currently on, but never the full staircase. This protects you from the weight of knowledge you're not yet prepared to hold and preserves the sanctity of free will. If the entire path were revealed, choice would vanish. The incomplete map safeguards your freedom to create. Here's the pattern shift to remember. The signs are not about proving destiny, they are about shaping you into someone capable of living destiny. They don't answer what will happen. They awaken the deeper inquiry, who am I becoming through this? That is the essence of transformation. The fragments don't offer certainty, they spark evolution. The unknown is the catalyst, the gaps are the initiation. Picture a man who starts noticing feathers everywhere. At first, he brushes it off as coincidence, but they multiply, on sidewalks, in pages, even in dreams. He senses they symbolize lightness, release, surrender. So he begins letting go of his need for control. Months later, he understands that the feathers were never meant to predict an outer event. They were there to ignite an inner transformation. They were fragments meant to reshape who he was, not to forecast what would happen. That's the truth most people overlook. The signs aren't prophecies, they're sculptors. They mold your awareness more than they inform your reasoning. And yet, the unfinished puzzle leaves behind a quiet ache. You crave the full image. You want to know why. You long to see the ending. But here's the loop of curiosity. Maybe the ache is the purpose. Maybe that yearning for wholeness is the very force that keeps you aligned, that keeps you evolving, keeps you co-creating. Without that ache, you'd sink back into autopilot. It's the ache that awakens you each time a new fragment appears. It keeps you seeking, keeps you observing, keeps you attuned. Incomplete by intention, yet complete in effect. So the question becomes, how do you exist within a puzzle that never reaches completion? The answer is simple, though rarely easy. You stop demanding finality and begin celebrating fragments. You start to see that each synchronicity is sufficient for this moment. You allow each piece to transform you without needing to see the full mural. And in doing so, you align yourself with the deeper intelligence orchestrating everything. The puzzle remains unfinished, but your alignment feels whole. The fragments may scatter, but your frequency stays steady. That is the secret stance of someone living in coherence. And as you learn this rhythm, something extraordinary occurs. You realize the puzzle was never outside you. It has always been a reflection of your inner unfolding. The incomplete picture out there mirrors the evolving landscape within. As you grow, as you tune, as you embody, the fragments rearrange, new ones appear, and the mosaic of your life becomes more luminous, more undeniable, still unfinished, yet breathtaking in its design. So when you look at the signs and feel the tension of not knowing everything, remember, you're not meant to. You're meant to know just enough to take the next inspired step, and that is always sufficient. The incomplete puzzle isn't an obstacle to destiny, it is destiny's essence. It's the universe's way of teaching you trust, movement, and becoming. The fragments are here, multiplying. The picture is forming. And the final piece, the one that ties everything together, is not handed to you. It's lived. Which means you're not merely solving the puzzle. You are becoming the missing piece yourself. By now you can feel it. Synchronicities aren't coincidences or random sparks from a chaotic engine. They are codes, fragments of a vast language woven into existence itself. The question is no longer whether the signs are real. The real question is, will you live as one who perceives them or as one who ignores them? That choice determines whether you wander aimlessly through the maze or walk consciously with a living map that shifts with every turn. To live as a decoder of reality is to accept that meaning isn't waiting to be found out there. It is born in the dialogue between your inner vibration and the living field around you. Every time you honor a synchronicity, you refine your ability to interpret the language of alignment. You start to see life less as random chaos and more as conversation. The universe whispers and you reply. You send out an intention and the field responds. With time, this exchange deepens into trust. The incomplete puzzle stops frustrating you and starts thrilling you. You stop craving certainty because you finally understand. Certainty was never the goal. Coherence, alignment, is the dance between signal and response, and that dance itself is the destination. Modern neuroscience backs this perspective. Research reveals that when the brain encounters novelty, something unexpected yet meaningful, it enters an expanded state of neuroplasticity. In simpler terms, synchronicities literally restructure your brain. They shatter the spell of monotony and carve new pathways of awareness. Spiritually, none of this is random. The signs appear to interrupt the old identity and clear space for the new one. Each time you notice them, you aren't just decoding reality, you are recreating yourself. You are rehearsing resonance, shaping your consciousness, and activating a timeline where you are clearer, more alive, more magnetic. But living as a decoder is not only about gathering signs for your own growth. It's about realizing that the field is always communicating to you, through you, and around you. Your very presence becomes a part of the conversation. When you live in alignment, you turn into a sign for others. Your choices, your coherence, your vibration sends subtle ripples into the collective field that spark synchronicities for the people nearby. That is how the web of meaning expands. It's not only about decoding, it's about transmitting. You become both messenger and message, both seeker and signal. Here lies the deeper calling, to stop seeing synchronicities as rare events and start seeing them as the foundation of an awakened life. Signs aren't extraordinary, they are constant. What's rare is the courage to notice, to trust, to embody them. The decoder doesn't wait for miracles. The decoder realizes that every single moment is already miraculous, encoded, alive with purpose. This shift from rarity to constancy changes everything. It transforms you from a passive observer into an active co-creator of your unfolding reality. And this brings us to the most freeing realization. You are not simply watching timelines, you are tuning to them. Every thought, every emotion, every statement of alignment adjusts you to one version of existence over another. Synchronicities don't predict your fate, they reveal your current frequency. They are mirrors reflecting who you are becoming. To live as a decoder of reality means accepting responsibility for your own vibration. To stop asking, what does this mean? And start asking, what is this showing me about who I am now? That is the level of mastery where life stops feeling accidental and begins to feel designed. Imagine if more people lived this way, communities of decoders, attuned to the dialogue of the field, encouraging one another to recognize signs, honor fragments, and embody alignment. The ripple effect would be profound. Fear would soften into trust. Loneliness would dissolve into resonance. Life would no longer be endured but decoded, experienced as a continuous revelation. This is not a fantasy. It is the natural evolution of those who choose to stay awake, who treat synchronicities not as coincidences, but as the compass of a living, intelligent universe. So here's your invitation. Stop waiting for a perfect sign. Begin being the decoder. Notice what repeats. Trust what vibrates within you. Embody what aligns. When you do, the puzzle of your life won't suddenly complete itself, but you'll understand it never needed to. The fragments are enough. The alignment is enough. And you are already walking the path that was always meant for you. If you're ready to go deeper, to move from awareness to application, I've created something for you, an ebook called Awaken Your Quantum Power. It includes a practical guide that helps you live these principles, not just think about them. You'll find the link waiting in the pinned comment below. No coincidence brought you here. The signs have been guiding you all along. Now it's your turn to live as the decoder of your reality.